up, way up. Hello, welcome to Hostel La Vista.
Hostel La Vista?
This is my very quaint antiquity gate. Notice the inlay in the gate. These are various and sundry birds flying and sitting in tree branches. This theme is going to be carried on into the fence line later on. Now, if you'll just follow me this way, we go across this unique floor made out of sort of a flagstone. It's called tumbled bluestone. And all the edges are around it, and there's two varieties of color, lilac and blue. Okay, we kind of mixed them up and gave it that kind of au naturel look. Yeah, come this way. This is my bridge, my little curved bridge, and it goes over the pond. Over here, we have a pond full of lily pads and various types of water grasses and water plants, including these things here, which are a kind of a weed, basically.
Explain how it's built up and everything around here.
Okay, well, what they did, they dug the hole, and this one's not a very deep pond over here. And they dug the hole, and then they made sure that there were absolutely no pebbles or stones or anything. It's totally smooth, okay? And then they put down what looks like felt. It's a black, thick felt carpet, and that's to give it kind of a cushion or a bed. And then they took the liner, which is sort of more a thick rubber material, very, very sturdy, specifically for making pine. And then they laid that on top. Now that comes up to probably overlaps to about here, out here. You got me down here? Hello? Okay, so the liner comes, you listening to me? The liner comes out probably to about here. Comes right out to the end. And then you put your rockery in. And the rocks are put in layers, built up. And that one rock has a hole in it. It's a natural hole. And we just fish the pump through that so that the water sprays out like a bubbler, sticks it straight up and down. The pump is like the line for the pump goes in down through the rocks, so the rocks disguise it. And then you get some little rocks and put those over top of anywhere where the line might be showing, covers it up. And then you just pour your topsoil over top of the rest of the area. I guess this is where the tarp would end, where the rocks are. And then the rest is the soil, and then you put your garden in. Okay? And
explain how this area is.
Now these are all log rounds. Each log is probably twice the length that it appears above the ground. And you dig a trench, and then you sink those logs into the ground one after the other. And then you just pack the dirt in around them and down with your foot so that they're really in there firmly. I suppose if you wanted to be really, make sure they're secure.
Are they spiked on the end?
No, they're just round.
How do you smash them in the ground round?
You just set them in. You just dig a trench.
And put cement around them?
You could put cement. I don't think they put cement around these. But you could do that and that'd make it even more secure. Okay, and then you put your topsoil in there, so that layer of ground is a little bit higher than this layer because of the log ground. And then we put some gravels and stuff and mulch on top of that. You put all your plantings in. The mulch keeps the weeds down. Then over here, we did the same thing with the big pond. A much deeper hole, of course, so that if you have fish, they won't freeze in the wintertime. Unless you like eating frozen fish for supper. Anyways, and then there's two different levels in here. Over here, this is the shallow end. So they didn't dig the hole as deep. But everything, again, has to be smoothed out so there's no pebbles, no stones, not a single one. And then you put this felt. The felt goes down first as a cushion. And that's laid all around and smoothed and nice, okay? And then you put your rubber tarp, or pool liner, I should say, on top of that, and bring it out to the edge so that your rocks can sit on top of the liner. And that you don't want to be throwing any large rocks on top of that liner, you don't want to do anything to damage it or even have leaking. Okay? And then in here you put your shallower plants, okay? And then the deep end, you can have your floating plants. all your rocks and layers again. Over at the waterfall, more slabs, sort of straight slabs, so you can build up the height. Okay, and you can use slate or all different types of rock to do that. And then you put your hose, your pump. Your pump is down here. You want to see it? Yeah. Try to take the water off.
You want to see it?
Okay, we're going to pull the pump out. There's the pump. It's got
Oh,
control
look, it
for
didn't
the
fall
amount of water,
apart.
So I can bring it down to a trickle if I want to.
Much easier to deal with than the one we have now.
Well, I like that flow better.
But that doesn't oxygenate, that was still on?
Yeah.
That doesn't oxygenate the water as well.
Yeah, but it sounds more real.
Well,
No, that sounds more like a real.
that's why this is here.
Oh, I'm just saying that to me sounds more like a real spring, you know.
Yeah. Well, I like it. I like the bigger one.
Well, then fine.
I like the bigger one.
Yes, I realize this. Thank you.
Now here, sometimes,
Huh?
that's all that's down there. See how this gets clogged up sometimes? Huh? You just take that off.
I don't eat that.
Give it a scrubbing. Clean it out. I usually do this maybe once a week, and sometimes every few days, depends on how much algae is getting on there. And you open her up.
Can you tell how excited I am about my new pond?
Anyways, I like it all pretty full because it oxygenates the water really well for the fish.
So how much are you recording?
Now you can set candles all the way amongst the rocks, and then at night time light them. Then you get the reflection of the light in the water. Oh, we've got some stepping stones here. Now once all the rockery's been down, put down, then you fill it up with water. It takes a few hours to do that. And then you put some more topsoil around here and in the garden. Do the same thing with the log grounds all the way around. So you're kind of framing your pond, you know. And then you get this stuff called pea gravel. All right, little tiny round stones. It gives it a very natural look. Put around the outside edge of your pond. And then all through the garden you put mulch. That keeps it so that you don't have to weed so often. Put in mostly perennials. If you want it to just sort of be there all the time, you don't want to have to be doing a lot of gardening once you got your pond filled. There's not that much maintenance really. I've got a skimmer. You see my fish down there? Get close up on the goldfish. See them all? Hey guys! Okay? Anyways, the fish become just like your cats. They come to you